Matthew here from miniwargaming.com, and this is another sit and talk. Happy New Year, because this is the first one I'm doing in 2014. I know this isn't Friday, but on Friday I was busy doing 40K battle reports, or was I doing Infinity battle reports? I can't remember. It's all blending together. That's because I did a bunch of them last week. And so I've got questions from 4 weeks ago. So I got 9 pages of questions that I will try to get through. And I'm going to do my best to answer them as best as I can. And of course, just a little preamble for the show. This show is about me answering your questions about whatever it is that you want to ask me. So it is possible that topics of religion will come up. If you are easily offended by the mere mention of religion or anything related to it, I would suggest that you don't watch this show, because I'll try to keep everything just minimum for that. And of course, if you have more questions for me, you want to go more detailed religious discussions, feel free to email me personally, Matthew@miniwargaming.com. Of course, your questions are welcome on the show as well. We mostly talk about wargaming and business and things related to that, though, just so if you're new to the show, that's really what this is all about. And of course, if you want your comments or questions answered, make sure to post them in the comments section on the Mini Wargaming website, not on YouTube, because it's easier for me to print them off on the Mini Wargaming site. So I'll put a link in the video description that goes there. So if you're watching this on YouTube, click on that and then leave your comment there. It's free to register. It's just really just about me being able to print off the comments a lot easier in a more organized fashion. And YouTube doesn't have an easy way to do that. So let's go through some questions. Lord Raptor, hiya Matt. In the intro to a lot of your videos, there's a Triarch Stalker in the background. It is my favorite model in the Necron Codex. Could you please paint it up and use it? Pretty please. I should actually add a couple more. I haven't really thought about my Necron army a lot lately, although I've played with them a couple times. But with the new Tyranid Codex that's just come out, and I've taken a look at it, I'll probably be playing my Necrons more often. I'll be doing probably a Tyranid Codex review in the near future. So you can look forward to that. That's the word I'm looking for. Regarding sci-fi books, has anyone mentioned Dune? I've heard of Dune. I unfortunately watched the movie. It was like made in the 80s or something. It was horrible. So it makes me not want to read the book, even though I've heard that the book is good. Liquid Metal. Liquid Metal. Hey Matt, how's it going? I recently got into X-Wing with a friend of mine, and we've played a few games and really started enjoying it. At some point, I'm going to have to come down to Welland and challenge you to an X-Wing battle. And I will accept. I have 2 questions. First, while playing X-Wing, my friend and I had a bit of a debate concerning the Falcon. Basically, we were trying to figure out if it could shoot missiles out of its 360-degree firing arc. No, it says the primary weapon can fire at that. The missiles still only fire from the forward arc. We read the rules for the secondary weapons, and it states that to shoot at the wet ship's primary firing arc. Yes. Technically, the Falcon doesn't have one. Yes, it does. So does that mean it can shoot missiles anywhere it wants? It's still modeled on the model, and it still has a primary firing arc. It's just its main weapon has a 360-degree firing arc. So it's the weapon, not the model, that has 360. My second question is, do you know of any comedy clubs in or around Welland? I'm a stand-up comedian part-time, and I'd be coming down from Montreal at some point to challenge you guys. It would be fun if I could do some shows while I was down there. Anyway, let me know. Thanks. I really don't. I'm not sure. That doesn't mean that there aren't any. I would look more in St. Catharines, maybe Niagara Falls. That seems to me like it would be more likely, just because of, well, just because. McAllister says, at Liquid Metal, yeah buddy, Falcon can shoot anything 360 degrees, or else I wouldn't spend 50 points on the darn thing. It's a great ship if used properly. Yeah, you gotta look that up in the rules. It can only fire the missiles forward. Marshallade. Matt, do you have any thoughts about this statement? There's someone out there for everyone. Thoughts about romantic love, relationships, fate? My personal belief is that that statement is both true and false. It's true in the sense that I think that if attempted to, most people could succeed at a relationship. There's going to be some exceptions, obviously, and I'm not talking about people who like. There's some exceptions to that. It's also false that it creates the idea that there's someone, like one soulmate. I don't believe in soulmates. I don't believe in any of that. I believe that 2 people, any 2, a male and a female, who try and who try, basically could have a successful marriage. Now, obviously, if there's differences such as cultural or upbringing or religion, that makes it harder. The most successful, or the best chance of success is usually when it's the same religion, a similar culture. Not that I have anything against cross-culture marriages and all that. I'm just saying it's easier to live with somebody and to try to raise a family when they have a similar upbringing to you. That's just, I think that's actually like proven, maybe. I don't know, but that's my thoughts. So yeah, and love is a thing that needs to be grown. Like when you're first married, definitely there's love there. Like no doubt about that. I hope there is. There better be, otherwise don't get married. But it's at the beginning of it, and it should be better and better and better. Not, I remember our honeymoon phase, that was the best time. Like it shouldn't be that way. It should become better later on. And dare I ask, gay marriage? I don't think I'm going to discuss that. That's like even worse than talking about religion, like talking about political / religious things. If you know my religion, then you can probably figure out my stance on that subject. Chaos, Dylan, thanks for the great video. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Keep up with the great Minecraft videos. Thank you. We actually haven't touched Minecraft for 2 or 3 weeks just because we didn't feel like it. Yeah, it's really not like something we're just doing it. It's just for fun. So if we continue doing it, we continue doing it. We were thinking of starting a Minecraft server where we'd have like a select few people, like maybe a couple dozen people. That could be fun, but we haven't really had time, so that's a big issue. Battle Cap Ironblood. Greetings, Matt. In regards to the nerd conversation brought up, I wrote an essay for my English 101 class about the changes of demographics about nerds, particularly the wargamer community. I pretty much said that nerds can be identified in any level of social class, race, gender, etc. I gave examples of people I've met, like guys who work construction on weekdays and play tabletop on weekends, jocks in sports, nuts playing D&D, and so on and so forth. I just think that everyone can be a nerd without having to act and look like one. It's true. Although everybody has their own personality, and there is a nerd personality that some people just naturally have. Whether they're into computer games or D&D or any of these other things, they might gravitate towards those just because that's where they can fit in really well as well. Not that everybody that does those are like that, but just that people are pretty accepting, I think, in the gaming community, you know, as much as you can compare to any others. So, but yeah, there's definitely a nerd personality, and you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Wiser Miser. Hi Matt, gaming question for you. Have you heard of Mobile Frame Zero? Nope. It's a mecha battle game where the minis and the train are made from Lego, or Lego variant. My girlfriend's brother recently got me into it and I'm loving it. Actually, I think maybe I've heard of that. Might be one of those games you don't have time for, but if you haven't heard of it, I recommend giving it a quick peek. It's Pewsplosions. There have been a slew of miniature Kickstarters over the past couple of years. Yes, there have. I'm pretty addicted and have spent way too much money on them. Dead Zone, Wrath of Kings, Reaper Bones, and Your Own Dark Potential, and a few others. Looking at the Mega Man miniature board game Kickstarter as I type this. Have you gotten into backing any of these? Yes, I have actually. I've backed like the War Machine Tactics, that's a computer game, but I did that one. I backed Dead Zone. Backed others too, I just can't remember. What are your opinions in general Kickstarter, Indiegogo for miniature board games? I think it's great. I think it's awesome. I think there are very few drawbacks to doing it, and I don't think there's any reasons for a company not to do one. Unless there's some sort of agreement or licensing issue, like if they're licensing for another, like that Lord of the Rings thing, then Lord of the Rings, the people who own the IP for that might have a problem with it being on Kickstarter, maybe. Other than that, it's like, why not? It's a good pre-order system. It's a good way to build buzz. It's just a good system overall to kickstart those new projects. So, yeah, I think it's great. Georgia Josh, since you have indeed watched football before, do you have a favorite team? Nope, I don't watch it. Hardly ever. On a completely unrelated note, what do you think about the Convergence faction in War Machine? I'm not a huge fan of their aesthetics, and I haven't really seen them played. So I guess that's what I think. Cheba98, hey Matt, are you or anyone else at Mini Wargaming planning on doing a Tyranid week when the new codex comes out? If not, you should. I was planning on doing a Tyranid week. I've just read the new Tyranid Codex, and I think it's a disappointment. I'm definitely going to still be getting a bunch of new Tyranid models, and we're still going to be painting them up, and I'm still going to be doing Tyranid battle reports. But my enthusiasm for doing a Tyranid week has dropped a little bit. So you might not see a Tyranid week, but that doesn't mean that you won't see a bunch of Tyranid reviews and stuff. It just won't all be packed into one week. It'll be spread out. Because it'll take me some time to get them all painted and actually play a few games. Like, there's the initial response that you get to a codex when it first comes out, and you look at the numbers, you look at the changes, and you get your initial reaction. In this case, I'm mostly disappointed in it with a few things that I like. But then I've known from the past that sometimes the codex can look one way, but then when you start to really play it a lot, other things come out that you didn't really kind of piece together. Little combos come out, or just the way things are used come out. So you really can't truly review a codex until you've played it or seen it played a bunch of times. Mini Game Painter. Hi Matt, thanks for the partnership program. I do my best to add good battle reports. My question is about the new Tyranid Codex. Looking past the rumors, what would you like to see in the new codex? Well, I guess now I already have it, so I should really talk about the next Tyranid Codex. And I could tell you a bunch of stuff that I'd like to see in that one now. Before, it's funny, with the previous codex, I was like, I don't know, I like it mostly. There's a couple little things. And now I'm like, yeah, I can picture a few changes I'd like them to make. To name a few, let us have Biomancy, please. And why did you nerf Turbogons so bad? They were good, but I never found them to be super powerful. Got rid of everything, Doom Valentine, my set export, now I can't deep strike like hardly anything except for things that suck at deep striking. The Moloch can actually mishap now when he comes in. Now mind you, he gets to smack twice if stuff is still in the way, but he doesn't push stuff out of the way. Basically, if the things survive, then he mishaps, which kind of defeats the purpose of why you're bringing him in the beginning. Because the nice thing was that he would come up, just blast everything, and they all get moved aside. And now he comes up and he blasts everything, and then if there's still things that if he still can't fit, then he does it again. If he still can't fit after that, then he mishaps, which could be really bad. So I'm not going to go into all that because I'm going to cover that in other videos, but yeah. Fishy Swats, played X-Wing the other day using homemade moving asteroid rules. It was awesome. Cool. Luefi81, asking where I live and not having a driver's license. I live in Lübeck, U with dots over it in German instead of U. That's between Hamburg and Berlin, roughly. Just feeling that someone should answer your question sometimes too. Thank you. Talking about Christmas, I wish you all at Mini Wargaming a fantastic time with your families over Christmas holidays. It was nice to take a couple weeks off. I will see my family, although we are atheists and don't celebrate Christmas. Interesting. People always ask me why we don't make Christmas gifts in our family, and when I tell them that my family is not religious, many people in Germany say, well, we're not either, but we do this Christmas present things. Then ask if they do Lenten season on Ramadan, the biggest Muslim celebration. They're saying no. So I tell them they should go to church instead of cherry picking. Very nice. You have to realize that, I think that's actually funny that you said that. I wouldn't have, if you told me that, I wouldn't have gotten offended. Oh, stupid phone. Not available. Okay, so my other phone's gonna ring. Making a video. Okay. Yeah, well, anyways. You have to realize though that like certain countries they were founded on Christianity. Not that that means that we can't have the other ones, but that's why you see those more common. Like Christmas is a statutory holiday in most countries because they started off Christian. Even if now that's not necessarily the majority, it's a cultural thing now. Not that there's anything wrong with you not celebrating Christmas, or anything wrong with people celebrating Christmas. And see, then there's myself going on. Anyways. I don't even know why I said all that. I got distracted by phones ringing. It was just kind of funny that you said that. Again, please all enjoy Christmas, you and the community that is, and keep up the great work in 2014. And I love and appreciate. Well, thank you. Punning Guy 11. Hi Matt, I was wondering what you think about the new codexes compared to the Grey Knight Codex. I play Orcs and Grey Knights, and I have trialed both against most of the new codexes. Orcs just get smashed all the time, and it requires me to go full evil in order to win. Grey Knights, on the other hand, seem to be fair game. I feel like Grey Knights are still a bit powerful, as all their weapons are force weapons. Sorry, monsters, creatures. I think that they should be nerfed a little, but not too much. What do you think? Orcs definitely need an update. Definitely need an update. And the Grey Knights, I don't know. I don't think they're too powerful. Because they're an elite, and so there's a lot of things that can really backfire on them. And the force weapons against monsters, creatures seems like a great thing until you realize that the army of the most monstrous creatures, you have a hard time with psychic powers when you're near them. Even with the new Tyranid Codex rules, it still has the shadow and the warp thing, which nerfs your psychic powers a little bit. So So yeah, so I don't know. Grey Knights has been hit and miss with me. Sometimes I can beat them, sometimes they beat me. So I haven't found them to be particularly overpowered. Rust Bucket 3437. If you enjoy Infinity because of how easy it is to change armies, you should look at doing Malifaux sometime down the road. It is a small skirmish I play. Okay, yeah, I know what Malifaux is. I've talked about this in the past, but I have issues with the sexuality. There's a lot of that in there with the miniatures. I know that other games aren't completely clean of it, but Malifaux just seems to be a little more obvious, I guess you could say. And I'm not a big fan of horror either, so it just doesn't really appeal to me. And really that's what it comes down to. The games that appeal to us will be the ones that we cover, really. XF Dark 1, hey Matt. Question for you. Went and bought a couple regiments of High Elf Spears for Warhammer Fantasy, but once they are painted, where do I begin with going out to find somewhere to go and play it down and NC? Because it seems like more people here in the States only play 40k. To answer your question, you just got to go to your local stores. And if nobody plays Warhammer Fantasy, then you've either got to get people into it, which will be hard because it's expensive, or you got to drive further. Really, that's what it comes down to, is what the groups are already playing. Second part of my question is there a limit on how high the point value can go in a game? No, never. But the limit is your time, really. What I mean by this is if, like Warhammer Online, have the two separate forces made up of, say, 3 commanders each and a general to lead in one massive scale battle, I think it would be a good idea to try it at least. Your thoughts? Yeah, they have rules for that, actually. And they also have rules for playing bigger games like Storm of Magic for Fantasy and Apocalypse for 40k. So you definitely can do it. It just will take more time, which is okay as well if you have it. It's Itch Shaden. I can only agree to one of the comments. A big Christmas battle with everyone on mini wargaming in it would be glorious and a real treat for Christmas for me. Sorry, Christmas is already over. You could even try the new Betrayal thing in Warhammer, and it'd make for an awesome game of Warhammer Fantasy. Stalwart Shadow. Hey Matt, came across mini wargaming while on a YouTube suggested videos ClickFest. Been watching a lot of the stuff you have put out since. Thank you so much for the work you and the mini wargaming staff do, as it gives me a lot of entertainment, even if I do not understand all the rules. Just wanted to show some appreciation. Thank you. I appreciate that. Also, reply from the previous sit and talk you did for which actors you would choose to play in a Warhammer 40k movie. Jason Statham would make an excellent Space Marine. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sure. Yeah, why not? Keep up the good work. Iron Fist Nose Eater. Hello Matt, I've only recently found your sit and talks. They are great for when I'm painting, so thanks for that. You're welcome. I've got to pass on my support for Jay and Owen. They seem to work hard. They also seem to have a lot more armies to use / play against compared to what you guys did in the earlier days. That's true. So I can forgive them the odd mistake. I think both of them are great. What I would like to say is they lack their own style. You, Dave, and Dan, when he did them, all had your own style. I'm glad you're doing 40k again. I've missed your clinical style of doing them. I agree with you because we were having them do the voiceover style. And so now that they're no longer doing that, they're going to be doing the, it's more a live kind of thing. I think you'll see them evolve more of their own style because their personalities will come through. Whereas before it was just a voiceover, so it was a lot harder to show the personalities. Finally, do you think you guys will ever do a 40k campaign? Yep. I think it would be great with all the staff and regular players like John, Gary, etc. That way I can steal / buy the rules for me and my group, LOL. Yeah, I think we'll do that. Shadow Waste 1124. Hey Matt, I've seen the preview of the mini wargaming Space Marine chapter and I love how they look. That's actually how you wrote it. They look. They look better than I can ever imagine. By the way, did you get my letter that I sent you a while back? I am just curious. Not sure which letter you sent, because I don't put usernames to names very well. So maybe. Reuben, hi Matt. Really enjoyed the 2 beat map Batroughs this week. They felt much more like Batroughs, which were part of the reason why I joined the Vault. I'm trying to avoid the term look because they look better. One of the side effects of this new old style is that your explanations of what you're doing and why you're doing it allow the viewer to do something else while watching the Batrough, like PV miniatures. Good, I'm glad that you like them. We're working on always trying to evolve them and improve them, so I'm glad that people are responding positively to them. Grimlock, Matt, the game where you're using the mini wargaming chapter was the first time in a long time I was really happy to see a bat rep. Oh, well thank you. You think? Aston, what happens to Paul? I remember that he moved. Did you still are in touch with him? I don't know what happened to Paul. I know he moved, but we're not still in touch with him. Bardorp, hey Matt, have you seen the second Hobbit movie yet? Yes. If you have, what do you think of it? Meh. Well, it's as good as the first one. Alright, I gotta pause. I'll be right back. And I'm back. Not that there was much time that passed for you, because power of editing. I guess I could edit that out too. Right. Okay, what do I think of the Hobbit movie? I give it like a 7 out of 10. It's definitely worth watching, especially if you like Lord of the Rings. But, and I know the Hobbit's supposed to be lighter and goofier than Lord of the Rings, but okay, let me just say this. I hated Legolas. He was awful in the movie. Now, it's not that I hated his personality, because I know he's not yet friends with Gimli. Like he's at the beginning of Lord of the Rings, he doesn't like dwarves. Like Gimli and him don't get along, and so it makes sense that in the Hobbit he wouldn't like dwarves. That's fine, but he's just so flamboyant. The way like this, it's like they took the cool stuff he did in Lord of the Rings. They're like, okay, he's already done all this cool stuff, so how can we top that? It's like Matrix. Like the first Matrix comes out and it's like super awesomely cool. And then it finishes, and you're like, that's a good movie. And then they're like, we're coming out with Matrix 2. And I thought, how could he have a Matrix 2? He beat the agents. Like, I know they didn't resolve everything that happens, but who cares? Like, it's not what it was about. It was about something cooler than that. And I'm like, what are they going to have? And I actually said this, I'm like, what are they going to have, like, upgraded agents? And then, sure enough, in like one of the first fights, he's like, with the agents, but just fighting with one hand. And all of a sudden he's like, oh, I got to fight with 2 hands. Upgrades. And I'm like, seriously? And then all of a sudden his powers were limited. Like, it's like they were like stretching to make it something bigger than what it was the first time. And with Legolas, it just was like he was just prancing around and riding dwarves' heads and sliding underneath spiders, and it wasn't cool. It was just goofy, and so that kind of bothered me. And the whole movie, like I enjoyed the movie, but for the most of it, I was just kind of watching it. Special effects were kind of crappy, to be honest. Like you could really tell, and I know that you can in a lot of movies, but you know this is a high budget movie. They should be able to do a better job than what they did. So I was like, whatever. I liked it as much as the first one. And the first one I found the same thing. I'd give it like a 70%. And I loved Lord of the Rings movies, so it's not like I didn't like those movies. I loved those movies, and I love the book. I've read The Hobbit, and it has nothing to do with what I read. Like, there were a couple changes they made to the story I was surprised about, but it didn't bother me because it's a movie. It's okay. I don't mind those changes. They surprised me because I think that the way the book did it would have actually been better in the movie, but it's still fine. They had to make adaptations, and that's always an artistic choice. So that's what I thought. Xenovids. So let me just say thank you for all the hard work you have put into Mini Wargaming. Thank you, and you're welcome. I have been watching your videos from the very beginning, and it has been great to see you and your company grow into what it is today. In regards to the way you're wanting to do your videos, more enthusiasm, for example. I feel that the way you have done your beat map at and Necrons versus your fluffy Tyranids was an excellent way to do this. Keep up the great work, and happy wargaming. Thank you. Eldrad 101. Hi Matt, Matt, I have a question. Does someone have to be a certain age to challenge you to a bat rep, seeing how I am 13? No. Obviously you'll have to have parental approval if you're a minor, or something like that. But no, doesn't matter. Nurkole. I love the Infinity Bat Reps. They have a style kind of in between voiceover and banter. I find myself getting bored with those styles, but the Infinity videos and the 40k Bat Reps against Steve's Necrons were a lot of fun for me to watch. They focus on the game, but still have the excitement that sometimes is missing from the voiceover Bat Reps. I agree. I think we've hit on something here. It's like this kind of in between the two. It's not quite a banter Bat Rep where you spend a lot of the time focusing on the people, which is fine. That's a different style. And it's not a voiceover either, which focuses just on the action. Which is very economical and allows the battle reports to be a lot shorter, but it's somewhere in between where you get reactions when they're good, and you get the play-by-play as it happens. But since I'm recording it as it happens, I know how long the clip needs to be, and so I can get all the pertinent information in, or I can shorten the clip if there's nothing else to say. One other question: where's Chris? He hasn't been putting out quick tips as much, and I miss his beautiful voice. I don't know what you mean by that. We put like one a day out for him. Oh, I think there was like 3 days where we had a DVD release, and so we put up those videos instead. So maybe that's what you're talking about. Keep up the good work. I love your website. Thanks. And Da Beast. What's up, Matt? That last battle report you put up between Nids and Necrons was one of the best I have seen in a while. That's what I'm hearing. I love seeing the enthusiasm and reactions to crucial dice rolls, but not as wacky as some of the banter bat reps. Was on the money, my man. Thank you, Da Beast. So I'm the man and you're the beast? Kurt86, something that I'm overly sure has been brought up before, rules you get wrong. Shouldn't it be rules you got wrong? Get being the present tense and got being the past tense. That or my Australian English is just plain bad. Well, if you think about it, if you type in the comment saying this is wrong, then it's rules you get wrong because you haven't yet learned anything about that. I think either works, but I think I don't know what the official name of the show is. I think we've actually gone back and forth between the two. We've never actually settled on one, so I'm not sure. Mr. Wizard, Matt, will you be running the leagues as a yearly thing, or were they just one-offs? Also, maybe I missed something, but I'm wondering who actually won the War Machine League. They'll be regular things, not yearly, regular, because that's how we actually get... I was experimenting with them to get more players coming in and playing games, and it worked, so we're going to be doing them regularly. Who won the War Machine League? I thought that was announced. Maybe it wasn't announced, and I don't remember off the top of my head. Sorry. Mr. Wizard, general question about tabletop gaming. Seeing as there is dice rolling involved in the games, can they ever truly be balanced? And how would you improve balance for 40k? Difficult question, I know, but I thought I would ask. Of course they can be balanced, because dice rolls have nothing to do with the balance. If two units are identical and they both roll the same number of dice, that is perfectly balanced. Randomness will come in, and in a particular game, you might see the dice favor one side over the other, but overall it's balanced, if you think of it that way. Okay, let's make a very simple game. The game is we both roll a d6, and whoever rolls higher wins. If you roll a tie, you re-roll. Is the game balanced? The answer is yes, perfectly. If one person rolled a d10 instead of a d6, then the game's not balanced because one person has an advantage over the other. But randomness does not change balance. It's just like if you have... What it can do is it can help make things that are too powerful able to be less powerful, and vice versa. For example, let's say that you have a scale of how powerful an army is. It's just an arbitrary scale here. And one army's here and one army's here. Well, if you didn't have dice and everything was just solid numbers, then this army should always beat this army, assuming that both players are good at strategy. But if you add in dice, all of a sudden, it's no longer the army is this powerful, it spreads around that center point. And the dice can really make it worse, or the dice can make it better. So then you have this range, and this other one also has a range, and you see that those ranges overlap. But it's still an advantage to the army that was better. But it could still lose if it rolls poorly and the other one rolls average or better. It's very, very basic, obviously, and it's not exactly how it works, but I think you get what I mean. So dice have nothing to do with the balance of the game. How would I improve balance for 40k was your other question. Try. I don't think they even try to balance 40k, to be honest. There's so many obvious things that when you look at it, just you're like, okay, mathematically that doesn't even work. So how is this balanced? But whatever. So I think it would just be a matter of actually paying attention to things that are winning lots and then just making modifications. Spectre Sentence, hey Matt, first of all, your staff do a great job, thank you. I place you guys as the source for wargaming entertainment. I've been pushing my own with minor results, but I understand the passionate work that goes behind it. Spectre Studio. Question. You mentioned wanting to cover a lot of other games, but most of your partnerships are painting type videos. Are there a lack of them, or are they not at the mini wargaming quality? I'd say there's more a lack of them. Battle reports are a lot harder to do regularly than painting tutorials. Not that painting tutorials are easy to do well, but they're easier to do. You can do a painting tutorial if all you have is some desk space and just you and your miniatures and your paint. Whereas battle reports require obviously a lot more. They require a place to play, good terrain, good well-painted miniatures, players who have good personality and know what they're doing. So battle reports, I think, are harder to make than painting tutorials because of that. Once you have the equipment in place, then then it could be argued which one's harder. But I think that's why you see more painting tutorials online than battle reports, is for that reason. I am a Vault member and look up to you guys. Well, thank you. Drolath. Hey Matt, I really like the bat reps and painting tutorials, especially Owen and Dave's. I do have to say one of the reasons I joined the Vault was because you had stated on a previous sit talks that you would be producing 2 War Machine bat reps a week. Since I joined the Vault, however, about 3 weeks now, I haven't seen any new War Machine content. I'm starting to reconsider my Vault membership since I don't play or have any desire to play 40k. My question, is there going to be more War Machine content coming out? While I realize 40k is still a larger game, War Machine is catching up quickly, and I would really like to see more War Machine content. Our intent is to do regular War Machine ones. Now the past 3 weeks aren't exactly the best thing to base it on, although it's totally legit that you look at it that way, because the 2 weeks were holidays, we weren't producing anything. We just finished the War Machine League, so we need to get another one started so that we can continue making War Machine battle reports. But my intent for this year is to be producing War Machine hopefully on a weekly basis. Infinity, hopefully on a weekly basis. 40K, definitely on a more than weekly basis, just because, you know, it is the most popular, so we do have to make sure we cover it the best. But I do want War Machine covered every single week, if possible. That in fantasy, not so much. Fantasy will be more like, there might be a little period of time where we're doing them every week, and then after a while, you don't see them as often, and then they come back just because it's not as popular. And then there'll be other games sprinkled in there too, but they'll kind of like our Dreadball League. That'll go for a certain amount of time, and then it stops, and maybe we'll do another one, maybe not. So, but 40K, War Machine, and Infinity are, in my mind, are kind of the games that we cover regularly. And I know we haven't hit War Machine for a little while, but we do plan on getting that league going and getting it back up. Sketh, hey Matt, would like to say a few thoughts I have about mini wargaming. I'm loving your Minecraft series and it gets me motivated to play along. The Dreadball series so far is just pure win. Your approach to making it sound like a Super Bowl broadcast is perfect. Thank you. And unfortunately we're delayed in continuing that because we had this, one of the players had to drop out, and so we're just getting that organized, but you should start seeing those start up again in the next couple weeks. Sketh, I don't mean to double post, but I hit enter by mistake. Last few thoughts. I can't wait for more videos on the Mini Wargaming Space Marine chapter. This time I haven't got to watch it. It's next on my list. Lastly, what happened to the video testimonials project. I'm still going to be using those. There's some stuff we're going to be doing in the next few months. It was more something that I was preempting, so I wanted to gather those. Power of Raw. Mini Wargaming has the best battle reports I've seen. Thank you. As a new player, I learned so much from your videos. To be honest, I enjoyed the current style bat reps over the new Infinity style. Interesting. So a counterpoint. I'd really like to see more matte battle reports with 40K and more 40K in general. If you were in charge of Games Workshop, what would you do differently? That'd be hard because Games Workshop is a public company, and that instantly loses some freedoms to just being able to do whatever you want. I think the biggest thing that I would do would be to reach out to the community more. That would be the big thing. In many ways. One, working with websites like Mini Wargaming and Beasts of War quite freely, like giving them models and all that stuff. And I'm just not just saying it because it benefit us, but because that is what's allowed us to really, really push Infinity. If Corvus Belli hadn't provided so many models and there hadn't been all these terrain makers providing so much terrain, we wouldn't have been able to afford to show as much as we've shown, and so we would have lost interest a lot sooner. And because they watch our battle reports and they tell us that they like them, and things like that, it gives us encouragement and motivation to continue doing them. So if Games Workshop did that, that would be huge. Absolutely huge. And then the other thing, of course, working on that, the community, like actually communicating with your community rather than cutting off communications, like disabling video or comments on videos and deleting your Facebook page when some negative stuff comes up. That kind of stuff. As for like, obviously we want better rules and all that, but you know, that's a lot harder than it looks. Power Bra, I would like to say the Emperor protects. Alright. Tarbizzle, hey Matt. I've been a long time YouTube lurker. After watching much of your recent content over the past few months, I have a couple questions. Do you ever use house rules? Yes. We use them in two situations. One, where the rule is actually not 100% clear for a game, then we'll house rule it. Two, we'll use a house rule for like simple things that we just don't like about a game. So, but we don't do major changes with house rules. I see many of the battle reports in which an assault specialized unit is forced to pop into the battle and simply stand a few inches away from the guns of the enemy. One house rule in my local group is to allow a single phase for deep strikers instead of the norm. Oh, I see. So they can choose to move, or shoot, or assault. That's interesting. Are there any plans for a Horus Heresy battle report? No. While not designed with balance for 40K armies in mind, they are perhaps more balanced than recent 6th edition Codex armies. Yeah, wow. It's not too hard. The Tyranny Codex just came in. Although I can't really say anything about balance yet, I haven't tried it. Thermo, first up, I'm guessing you'll be reading these after Christmas, so I'm sure I'll speak for the whole Mini Wargaming community when I say have a great Christmas, Team Mini Wargaming, and a successful happy 2014. Thank you. Thanks also for the Hobbit channel's shout out, much appreciated. I've been really enjoying the Infinity Battle reports, even though I'm not always 100% certain of what is going on. I think I might give it a go. What would you recommend for getting started and at what points cost? How does the army building work? Choose an army that appeals to you. Like look at them, just whatever appeals to you, stylized wise. And then get the starter boxes. And as for what to add from there, like you want to start with about 150 points as you're learning and just build from there. The Infinity forums are awesome for help. So you can go on there and you can just ask your questions and people help, like big time. So use those. So that's what I would suggest. Another Infinity question. It seems from your bat reps that your main experience of the game so far is the Shock Army of Acontecimento, the Steel Phalanx, and Hakaslam. What do you think the strengths and weaknesses of each of these are, and which heroes, troops, weapons have you enjoyed using the most? The Acontecimento is just a good, straight-up, solid army of good shooters, access to decent weapons, really good tag, and just all-around good abilities. They have a little higher than average ballistic skill, so they're a little better at shooting. They lack, the Acontecimento really lack things like camouflage. Like, they only have access to a tiny bit of it. And even airborne deployment, you don't see much of it. Like, I know I could bring more, but it's not a huge part of it. And they have access to the hackers and all that kind of stuff too. Hakaslam seems to be a little more versatile in that has access to some really cool link team things. Like, they can have a second link team, for example, with the certain rules that they have. And they seem to be better at the camouflage, sneaking guys around, making me doubt what actually is what. So playing tricks with your opponent. And the Steel Phalanx, just from what I've seen so far, has been awesome because everything is hard to hit. And all this time, I just realized in my last battle report that all this time, everybody has chain rifles pretty much, and chain rifles are a small template, I thought. But they're actually a large template, which makes them like stupendously awesome. And they're just tough to kill because they all have optical disruption devices, which makes it harder to hit them, a lot harder to hit them. And a lot of them have no incapacitation, so it's like basically an extra wound. And you can make tons of link teams with them, and it's just a good solid list. Their weaknesses is the Aleph army that I have, the Steel Phalanx army I have, has like no specialists. Has one chain of command guy, but other than that, no specialists. So no hackers, no engineers, no doctors, and so that's obviously a disadvantage when you're playing objectives. The Dice Sanctuary. Hi Matt, the new battle report style is really good. You get a little bit of banter between both players, you have two voices in the videos, and it's just something new. I'm not sure how you can film and play at the same time. I've tried it for my bat reps, and it's just too difficult. Practice. I've done it hundreds of times now, so it's become easier. Anyway, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you. You too. Kurt, 86. Matt, can you stop giving spoilers in your bat reps about who won previous games? Like in the Tyranid vs. Tau one you recently put up, you kept saying how badly you lost the previous game, which I had not seen yet. Well, then watch them in order. That's all you got to do. If you're watching one in the vault, most likely the one that's out for free is the previous game. So just make sure you watch them in order, and then it won't be a problem. Warlord Scantor 97. Hello. Watching your alls videos is what really got me into Warhammer. I'm currently in fantasy, and I was really wanting to do what you all do with all your alls bat reps. I see many YouTube channels that do bat reps, but they're always pictures and a voiceover. I find this uninteresting, and I know many others do so too. So I'd like to ask, how exactly do you do your bat reps? Do you just hold the camera in one hand and play with the other? It would be great to know so I can do videos in the future. Thank you and Merry Christmas. Basically, what you see is what you get. I just hold the camera, I take the shot, and I talk about what's going on while it moves, and then I turn the camera off. I literally take all those clips and drag them all. I have a default that overlaps them all a little tiny bit so that it transitions from one to the other. I put the overlay on and a bit of music in, and it's done. That's really it. So it's all about your style of how you talk and your enthusiasm, what you say. I always like to, the first time I use a special ability or spell or psychic power, I always like to give the full description of what it does. And then I truncate that explanation throughout the rest of the game. And that way anybody watching it for the first time will at least have a basic idea of what's going on. I don't give like the basic rules, like, okay, I've got a ballistic skill of 4 and therefore I'll be hitting on 3s. I don't do that basic stuff, but special rules definitely. So it's just practice. You just got to practice it to get it down. Big JD. Hi Matt, would you mind after the 4th of January when all the new NIDs come out and you have built all the juicy new releases doing a giant showcase video of your entire Tyranid army, literally every NID model you own in one? Yeah, I think I'll do that. Stormguard Ascended. Hi Matt, I recently started Tomb Kings for Warhammer Fantasy and I like how they are shaping and was wondering, will you be using your Tomb Kings in the fantasy battle? As I which I have said already have started Tomb Kings, as I loved what hang at bat reps with them. Watching, I think I somehow got rid of a C. Also, I like the technique / style of the bat reps as they are. The banter bat reps I can only say are okay, but their style now I think is much more professional. Maybe I'm not sure how to describe them, but they appeal to me more than banter. Finally, great channel, love the vids, and I look forward to every video you and anyone at Mini Wargaming post. Thank you for, I hope, reading my comment. You're welcome, and thank you for your comments. Will I be using my Tomb Kings? I don't plan on playing much fantasy in the next little while. But if I did play fantasy, yeah, I would use my Tomb Kings and my Lizardmen. So I wouldn't expect it anytime soon, just because I've been focusing. Like, I've been doing a lot of 40k, Infinity, now with this Dreadball as well, and so been very busy with all that. Adib, hi Matt, love mini wargaming. You guys got me back into gaming after 15 years. Well, thank you, or you're welcome. I don't know what to say about that. A group of friends and I are thinking of setting up a game center and shop dedicated to tabletop gaming. A lot of ideas we have are inspired by you guys. I was wondering if you have any advice for us going toward starting this adventure. Keep up the amazing work. I've had this question a few times. Our store is shut down, so I don't know if I'm the best person to give you advice on running a store. You need to have a big enough population. I would say that you need within half an hour drive to have access to about 500,000 people. And if you don't, you're going to have a hard time. And then the main things, besides all the stuff you should know about running a store, which you need to study, is make sure you stock lots of stuff and have lots of events and a good place to play. If you do those things and you bring in enthusiasm and then you apply business sense to everything else, then you'll do great. But it's a lot of work. Lots and lots and lots of work. Mediboy1. Hey Matt, I understand that you're bringing back some banter in the Infinity Bat Refs, but what I really miss is the banter Bat Refs, especially the ones between you mini wargamers. I really hope you are going to bring them back. Also the really fun stuff such as the Anniversary Bat Rep. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens this year. Mainpus1. Hello from Wisconsin. I just signed up for a mini wargaming account. Welcome. Love your content and that you're a fellow NID player. At the time of this comment, it is currently colder here than in northern Alaska. It's about minus 13 degrees Fahrenheit or minus 25 Celsius, and a wind chill nearly triple that. Yeah, we had some pretty low temperatures here in the past couple of weeks. I think we had minus 30 or minus 40 at some point. I'm no stranger to harsh winter. I'm sure you're not either. Do you handle the extreme cold well? Or are you like me and going psychologically paralyzed and insane? I don't. Like, the cold sucks, but I don't think I handle it poorly. It's been particularly cold this year, though. Like, more than usual. Have you gotten a chance to see any of the new NID models, since now they're available for pre-order? I've seen pictures, but I haven't seen the models. I've seen the codex, though. What are your thoughts on the new Harrowspecs Exorcine models? Alright, we'll see them in person, though, before I can really answer that. At this time, the codex isn't out, but the basic concept of the creatures are all over the web. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I already talked about that, so I'll skip that question. So Warmlord82, hi Matt, are you going to do a tactical video on the new NIDs? Most likely. Mickey Levy, wow, so with the big news of mini wargaming and Owen going off to be a banker type person, what's this going to mean for mini wargaming? Discuss! Well, it means we'll see less of Owen, and probably some new battle report producers. We shall see. Howlin Wolf 1337, hey Matt, just heard that Owen is going to start to work also at a different job. Do you think you need new employees for battle reports and other videos? Said that sometimes people leave or work less, but that gives opportunities for other people to blossom. Yeah, first off, just for the record, I have no problem with Owen doing this. He was working part-time here, so he's got to think about what he can do, and he was able to get a full-time job elsewhere. We definitely, obviously, need to fill in the gap there, so we're looking at that right now. But, yeah, I think that's about all there is to say right there. Lick D9. First of all, congratulations for the nice business and the nice family. I may not be a Vault member, though, and that's mostly because I'm not an active mini wargamer yet. So it feels like much of the content of the Vault would be wasted on me. That's fine, fair enough. But I still try to support miniwargaming.com, got the ad blocker turned off on the site, and spread the word when I can. Well, thank you. I actually got into all of this a few months ago because I found Mini Wargaming YouTube channel, so basically because of your little business, I'll move out and start studying at university soon. And I'm currently considering to pick up Wargaming as more than just a spectator. The huge problem I have is that I can't decide what army I should focus on for the life of me. An active community is present in the city I'll probably live in as well, but due to the Mini Wargaming battle reports, I'm at pretty much all the different factions. And can see myself playing everything from Orcs over to Tau to Eldar, Necrons, or Tyranids, just not the Space Marines maybe. I usually like to pick based on two things. What other people are playing. So if a lot of people are playing an army, I don't like to pick it. And number two, of course, is just the look and feel of an army. So it's a hobby, so you want to make sure two things. One, that you'll be able to do the hobby. So if, for example, your local club doesn't play 40k, they all play War Machine, then it'll be hard. Most likely it'll be the other way around. And then base it off of what they're playing just so you can have the most fun. Another question I have is what else I could do to support Mini Wargaming except joining the Vault, which I'll definitely do should I pick up the hobby properly. Just watching, commenting, liking, sharing YouTube videos, on liking our Facebook page, anything like that. It spreads the word. It's all social networking, right? So when you like a video, then people you're friends with will see that you liked it, that kind of stuff. It also helps rate rankings in the YouTube search engine. So just general stuff like that is really good for us. And have you thought about advertising on forums or wargaming news sites directly instead of you with the use of banners? We have tried that in the past to varying success. Owen will work at a bank now and Game with the Cooler will end, though he thought about continuing on Saturdays on another channel than the Mini Wargaming one. Couldn't you just let him keep on uploading them on Mini Wargaming's channel and give him some pocket money off the advertising of these videos? It would be a win-win situation since he'd get more viewers on your channel and he'd keep his videos. I think the problem is that he wants to work for us on Saturdays, and we won't employ him on Sundays because I don't believe in employing people on Sundays. And so if he ends up making them on Sundays, then I wouldn't want to pay him for that. So that's the real issue, is that now his hours are limited to just the one day. And so we've got to make sure that he uses those to make battle reports, because that's more important than the Game with the Cooler. Game with the Cooler was a great show, but battle reports are more important if we really had to put them side by side. Villicom. Maybe this has been gone over before, but I have noticed a rather sad lack of War Machine Hordes battle reps. So I covered that. Pat Rat 123. Matt, why hasn't Owen posted videos in so long? He's been doing all the Warhammer Fantasy stuff. So actually, we have been posting his. So I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, please ignore my previous comment as I now understand Owen's situation. But even as I'm typing this, I realize you will read my previous comment first anyway. Fenster. Hey Matt, what do you think about the new Tyranid Codex? Might be a repeat question, sorry. Disappointed, but in my first glance. But the jury is still out. Kiefer J0415. Hey Matt, sorry if this question has been asked before, but what are your opinions on people using Space Marine armies played as a different chapter than painted? I think that's fine. I personally don't have a problem with it, but I know some people who do. Keep up the great videos. It's a hobby. It's a game. Who cares? If they want to try it out differently, then let them. I like WYSIWYG as much as possible, obviously, but paint schemes isn't WYSIWYG necessarily. For example, if you're playing the Ultramarine Tactics, you can still be a successor chapter of the Ultramarines and still have different colors. Wiser Miser. Matt, your escalation games were so epic and so fun to watch. Loved it. Thank you. The question is, where did you go on vacation, if you don't mind sharing, and what was the super awesomest part? I stayed home. It was a staycation. Did a lot of family stuff during the Christmas first week, and the second week was more just staying around home, just enjoying time off. Iron Tank 88, why aren't Hunter-Killer missiles used in Imperial Guard tanks and transports? It's a good philosophical debate. Not quite sure. Sergeant Scotty 182, Matthew, bat reps are seriously lacking these days. Okay, you're posting this just recently. Over the past 2 weeks we're on vacation, so we didn't put up nearly as many. Okay. I'm going to miss Owen's bat reps, especially his Tau cheese. Hopefully you can find a good replacement for her. Who knows, if I can get a Canadian visa and escape Scotland, you may find me knocking on your door. Tyler6298, will you be doing a NIDS review? Yes. And that is the last question. So thank you very much for all your comments and questions. If you want your questions answered, make sure you put them in the comments below, unless you're on YouTube, in which case click the link below and go to the Mini Wargaming site and leave the comment there. Thank you very much for all your questions. This is Matthew from Mini Wargaming. Happy Wargaming.